Well, well, well. It has been a long time since I have done my podcast and done a live stream on YouTube. I've spent a lot of time this summer away, but I am back and I am ready to get back into the grind of it. And so I'm excited to kind of this time around actually change a little bit of the format. I'm still working on reformatting the podcast, but I'm excited to go into a new season of it. Believe it or not, this is season 3 of the Common Sense Show podcast, and I am excited for what the season is going to have to offer. We have been downloaded. Our podcast has been downloaded in about 15 countries in about 27 states, and I'm really excited to see how this season's growth will actually go. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can build a business that people want to interact with. And a lot of times, when a person is searching for a business online, they're looking for a business that often has buzzwords that actually excite them. So, if you've ever been on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter and you've been scrolling around, you probably have come across a live stream where someone has said, if you give me $199, I will show you how to make $500 a day. I'll show you how to make $1,000 a day. And it's completely passive. You don't have to worry about it. You set it and forget it. Now, the buzzword for the last, 10 or 15 years in business has been passive income. Passive this, passive that. And oftentimes what happens is that people think that passive income is entirely passive, that there's no work at all involved in going into a passive business. It's only going to be passive once you actually give your first deposit or your initial investment. But I'm here to tell you that the real and true story of passive income businesses is completely different than you actually think. And I wanted to give you some things to think about when it comes to passive income and making money, and when these opportunities come up on social media, so that you can judge for yourself whether or not you believe it's a good opportunity. So I'm going to ask you a few questions today to kind of stimulate your thought process about investing in a passive income opportunity. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And then I have a few Micah's rules of thumbs that is going to go into this as well, so you can get an idea of what passive income is. But first, before I go into that, I'll introduce myself. If you don't know me, my name is Micah Logan. I am the founder and CEO of Meld Fitness and Wellness, which owns both corporate location studios and a fitness franchise. I'm also the CEO of a startup company called Hush Frame, which is in the manufacturing sector. And I run that company as well. And I am, other than me running two companies and being the founder of one and looking to scale and grow both nationally and internationally, which is what we've been doing, I am excited to continue to share my knowledge of whatever I have to offer the public for free, as long as I can do it. So let's get into the passive income. So the first point I want to make is, and if you're looking at the screen, if you're watching this on Instagram, you're not going to actually have access to some of the on-screen information. But if you're watching this on social media, our YouTube channel, or Twitter, or Facebook, you'll be able to see it. So $500 to $1,000 a day, or even a month income opportunities, they make big promises usually, but they often fail to deliver on those promises. Why is that? Well, it's because they're selling people a dream. Basically, what they're selling you is the opportunity to go from your couch to making. Sorry, just had to switch cameras. They go from your couch to making real deal money without, frankly, having to do much of any work when it comes to setting up the business. And how do they pitch you on this opportunity? Well, they say it's all done for you. We've done it. We've all done it for you. We've tested these opportunities. It's just plug and play, and you can make $500 to $1,000 a day or a month without doing anything, with no extra effort. But what they never show you in advance are the details on how they actually are able to do it. And part of the reason is because they may say to themselves, "Oh, I don't want to give away my secrets on how I've actually been able to build this business." But people who have often been successful in business are not afraid to give away, not necessarily trade secrets, but not afraid to give away as much information as they can to people who are actually interested in an opportunity that they may have. So for a person to say, "I don't want to give away my trade secrets or my secrets as to how I've been able to build this business without you paying something in order to get it," it's a bit foolish. So I would say that for any business opportunity, you should always look for someone who's willing to actually spend time giving you a little bit more information so that you can decide for yourself if the opportunity is good or bad. So they make big promises with these $500 to $1,000 a day or a month income opportunities, but they fail to deliver on their promises. Let's define what passive income actually is, because I don't think that people often know what it actually is. So here I'm going to share my screen. And again, if you're watching on Instagram, sorry that you don't have access to this, but you can just listen up and follow along as I go through. But here's a definition of passive income right here. Passive income, according to Investopedia, is earnings derived from a rental property, a limited partnership, or other enterprise in which a person is not actively involved, as with active income. Passive income is usually taxable, but is often treated differently by the Internal Revenue Service. So passive income opportunities are often opportunities that derive from businesses that you literally do not have to trade your time for the money. So why are passive income opportunities appealing? Well, the first thought is that you don't have to put in the time it takes to go, and you don't have to trade your time for money. And so if you think about a rental property, you purchase the property, so you're putting money in it. Maybe you're renovating it. Maybe it's let's call it a 3 or 4 family, multi-family house, and you're renting out each floor of that income property. And at the end of the month, minus your mortgage, if you have one, or expenses, and a maintenance savings buffer, whatever is left over would be what your income is. As an example, if your total expenses in that 3 or 4 family house were around, let's call them $3,000 a month, and in total your rents were $6,000 a month, net of all those expenses, you would have passive income of $3,000 a month without technically doing anything or having to trade time for money. But we're going to talk about that in a minute, because it's not always that simple when it comes to creating passive income. So now you know what passive income is and why it is appealing. It's because you don't have to trade 1 hour for $1 or whatever the actual fee is. So you're not actually trading your time for the cash that you're going to get. So let's talk about how or what you should look for in business opportunities that claim that they're giving you passive income. If you can tell that I'm skeptical about passive income opportunities, you're probably right. And it's because I am. Because I've been in business for 2 decades and I've seen so many people get their money taken from opportunities that are considered passive, or their joy is completely sapped from business opportunities because they think that they're getting something passive, and really it's way more active than they actually thought. And then they kind of get resentful and bitter because it's like, well, I thought this was going to be only, 4 hours a month at most, or 3 hours a month at most. And I'm actually spending about 20 hours a week doing this. So a question comes up when you're looking for passive income opportunities. The first of which is, what should you look for in business opportunities? What exactly should you look for in business opportunities? Well, I have 5 things that you want to look for in passive business opportunities that will help you to gauge whether or not it's a good opportunity. And I'm going to break down each one. And then after we go through these 5, I'm going to give you Micah's rule of thumb for looking into businesses. All right. So the first rule of thumb when assessing a passive income opportunity is there enough demand for the product or service? So when you are scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, or you're watching a YouTube video on hot tent camping in minus 60 degrees Celsius weather, which I watch those videos, and then a dude or a chick pops up and is like, hey, I have this passive income opportunity that's going to be great for you. You should take advantage of it. Then you want to stop and ask yourself these questions. Or the one, or think about the ad that comes up on YouTube that goes, give me 30 seconds and I will tell you how to change your life with replace company A for companies A through Z and what they do, pop it in there, and you have the same exact ad for every single one. All right. But the first question is that you want to ask yourself is there enough demand for the product or service? Now, you have to be careful in answering this question because it's easy to fool yourself when it comes to looking at a business opportunity. You can fool yourself into thinking that there's enough demand for any product and service. And oftentimes, this comes out when a person is writing an investor deck, when they're trying to secure money from an investor, especially an investor who's actually has a keen eye and understands the market that you may be going into, or may not understand the market, but understands how markets work and a total addressable markets work, that you could be way overestimating the value or the market share of the business. So what do? Well, you take a look to see who is currently using this product. It's easy. You run a search. You can go to Google Trends. You can type in anything that a person would search for to see how many results there are about that specific business opportunity, service, or product. You can then take those Google Trends search and click Google Alerts and see if there's any Google Alerts that ping about that business opportunity or product. Look for people who have engaged in the business previously and what their results have been when it comes to that service or product, and what have been their results. And finally, you can just simply ask around. You already have an internal focus group in your life, like all of us, which are our family and friends, where you can ask, if you had an opportunity to buy this product or use this service, would you do it? And people will tell you whether or not they will. The second thing that you want to think about when you're assessing a business, a passive income opportunity, is, do you believe in the product or service that's being offered to you as the passive opportunity? And are you a user of it? You see, oftentimes I find that people tend to buy into concepts or passive business opportunities, and they don't even use the product or service that they are actually selling. That's a problem. Because if you are not using the product or the service that you believe is going to be this wonderful business opportunity, why in the world would anybody else use it? Number one. And number two, how can you intelligently talk about it to make sure that you know exactly the ins and outs of the nuances of the product or service that you're a user of? So if you are likely unwilling to use it, or you just think it's a good business idea because, people will use it, but you don't use it, then you may want to reconsider your allegiance to that product or that service. Number 3, when you're assessing a passive income opportunity, think about, is this a brand or a new business type, and has it been around for a long period of time? Has it? Or are you just now seeing it? Is it something that has been around for a while? So I own personal training studio. We're in the franchise business. When we talk to people about buying into the personal training business, personal training studios have been around since the 1800s, late 1800s, 1881 to be exact. And in those personal training studios that were boutique-ish at the time, that turned into big box clubs eventually and came back around to boutique fitness studios. People have always engaged in training for a long time. So, is this a brand new business type or has it been around for a long time? You don't want to be the test dummy when it comes to a brand new business type. I'm not talking about a brand new business concept that exists in a space that is well established. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a brand new business type that people haven't even heard of or people aren't even using. And you're one of the first people to buy in. And, oh, by the way, you're looking for a passive business opportunity on a hustle's budget, a side hustle budget, without an investor. So you have to be really careful where you place your money, where you put your time, and if people are already engaging in that space. The fourth thing you want to think about is what are the real costs associated with starting a business the proper way. So this is the one mystery piece, and it's a giant puzzle piece to the passive income opportunity space. What are the real costs associated with actually starting a passive opportunity business? Because you may think that the real cost associated with the passive opportunity business is just buying the course that explains to you how you take that business and you roll it out. And let's say even if this passive opportunity business is actually a legitimate business that you can make money from, the beginning cost of just purchasing the templates, the established business for you to run to become passive is just the beginning part of actually developing that business. In business, you have to bring the business to market, the concept. You have to validate it in your space. Even if it's validated in other spaces, you still have to validate it in your local space. You have to market that business so that people are aware that their business exists and where they can buy from. And then finally, you have to spend money on the infrastructure to make sure that you can service that business and the customers that come along to buy that product and that service. And there are real costs associated with that. And beside the physical cost that may include inventory or may include staff to help you run it, that may include setting up a website, that may include marketing. There are also mental costs associated with establishing a business. It's going to get hard. Yes, right. GON is going to get hard when it comes to setting up a business. And people are going to want to know that you have their interest at heart, and making everyone feel like they're the only person in the world when you are rolling out a business is a hard, mentally tough thing to actually do. So, what are the real costs associated with starting this business the proper way? Both the physical cost of the dollars and cents and the mental cost of seeing the business through to success. The last thing to assess the passive opportunity is, can this business become a legacy business, and will I be able to sell it when I'm finished running it? If you are looking to build a business for both income and maybe so that you build something for your family is a part of the equation. Legacy businesses don't happen overnight, and legacy businesses typically are legacy businesses because they run on tangible and effective platforms that give both the foundation structure for the business to run and have support from the side that is actually offering you the business. When you're trying to build a legacy business, you're talking about building a business that without your direct help can provide income for your family for generations to come without them actively having to market or to try to reestablish the marketplace that you've created when you signed up for the business. Becoming a legacy business takes an immense amount of work, and structure and organization. So if you're starting a passive income business because you want to create a legacy business, we talked about how, and there have been plenty of investors in real estate that have created legacy businesses in real estate as a passive business. But oftentimes, legacy businesses are legacy businesses that include real property, like real estate, are cash intensive to start. And in addition to them being cash intensive to start, they are um, they are tough to maintain if there's not a proper structure. So when it comes to legacy businesses, you want to make sure that you are establishing a business that actually has a structure that can supersede both your current efforts in the business and that have a foundational structure for the future. Now, let's talk about some of my rules of thumb when it comes to what makes a good business. Some questions, some statements, and things that we can kind of just toss around and talk about. Micah's first rule of thumb when it comes to actually finding a real business that actually works. And I'm not saying passive income businesses don't work. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying we're talking, even if you're looking for passive or active businesses, but passive specifically, because that's what we're talking about today. You want to look for these 5 things that I'm going to talk to you about. You want to look for longevity in the marketplace of the idea. Real estate has been around since the beginning of time. And so the real estate's ability to deliver income is without question. It has stayed on par with the stock market for decades, many decades, since Warren Buffett created Berkshire Hathaway, and Berkshire Hathaway grew to that monster that it is today in stock value, marketplace value. Real estate has consistently pretty much kept pace with the stock market. If not, it's been pretty close to the returns of the stock market. So in terms of the marketplace of the idea, if real estate is the idea, longevity is actually there. If it is a cookie dough concept that you are looking at, is there longevity in the marketplace of the idea? Is that business a business that people understand in your marketplace? Is that business a business that people can get behind in your marketplace? Those are some questions that you have to answer. Micah's second rule of thumb when assessing a business is, are there systems for how you will make money clearly definable and easily implementable? So does this business opportunity that you're going to invest your money in, your hard-earned money, whether it's $1, and don't get me wrong, people always dismiss the low investment business opportunities. There may be some really good ones out there. I don't. Every dollar that you make is a sacred dollar. So, but when you're buying into it, ask yourself, are the systems for how you will make money clearly definable and easily implementable? Can you understand exactly how you're going to make money? Like exactly. With your eyes closed, not looking at the book, the operating manual, do you know how you're going to make money? And can you actually easily implement the systems for the business in order to make the money that's clearly definable? Because at the end of the day, in order for a business to create passive income for you, and in order for you to benefit from it, it has to be a clearly definable way to make money, and you have to have steps that you should go through in order to do so. Micah's third rule of assessing a business is defining the true cost of what owning this business will mean for you. This means that we all of us who are looking to establish a business in the marketplace, who want to make one passive, whether it's active, whatever, you have to look at everything. What is the worst case scenario when it comes to running a business? If you have to step into the business, how much time is it going to take you to run this business? What does it mean for you in your life? What is the true cost of doing this? How far Are you going to have to pay to get the marketing out there? You have a brand new business, and oftentimes we end up spending a little more money on marketing at the beginning, to get things rolling, and then at the end, we we can kind of knock back the marketing a bit because we have the marketing dialed in as a science. So, do you understand the time commitment entirely that it would take you to actually roll out this business? Do you understand the marketing costs associated with it? Do you understand the cost to bring it to market if it's a new product or service? Do you understand the emotional and stress costs it's going to take on your body in order for you to actually be successful with this venture? All these things are an appropriate use of your mind and your thought process when it comes to defining the business. Micah's fourth rule of thumb, my fourth rule of thumb, is: are you ready for the commitment it takes to operate a business? You have to be bought in fully in order to be successful in a business. You have to be willing to hit the ground running, willing to do whatever is necessary, willing to put yourself out there so people can understand you. Remember, the only person that gets called on in the crowd is the one that raises their hand to be called on. And if you're not willing to put yourself out there in order to wave your hand around so that people can actually find you, locate you, and know who you are and what you stand for, then you're not ready for that commitment it takes to operate a business. You have to be willing to get out there and to dive in. And my last rule in assessing a business for yourself, whether it's passive or active: always, 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 no matter if the business is just a vending machine business, whether the business is a YouTube business, whether the business is a brick and mortar business, you have to always develop a business plan on how you will bring this business to market, who is going to buy your product and service. You need to take a surgeon's knife to pricing in your marketplace. You need to understand exactly before you come to market how you're going to price your product or your service, how you're going to market this and to whom you're going to market it to, and what is your plan for getting people who would buy your product or engaging a service to the table. What are you going to do for that? Are you going to create your whole street team? You could. And maybe that will work in your area. But you should know that. And then if you know that you're going to need a street team for marketing at the beginning, or if you know that this opportunity is going to require you to have to develop relationships with other business owners in the community, then that's a part of developing your business plan, which includes your marketing plan and understanding whether or not you can count the cost, the true cost of owning that business, and understand what it means. In your business plan, you should create a clearly definable and implementable solution for the business plan that was given to you. So oftentimes when businesses change hands, the person's giving you their modules, their operation plan for the business. But you have to in turn create your own business plan on how you're going to implement the information that was given to you so that it actually works in your area for who you are in your segment so that you can get noticed and people can patronize your business. A business without customers, a business without a definable plan is not a business that is going to succeed long term. So put these things into place. Use my 5 rules of thumb when assessing and implementing a business. Use the 5 key questions when assessing a passive income opportunity, and you will hopefully be successful when it comes to assessing a business. So remember, as I sign off, if you don't go to work building your dream, then you're going to go to work on building someone else's. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. I'm glad to be back. We have interviews coming up on the Common Sense Show on a regular basis. If you haven't yet subscribed to the Common Sense Show on YouTube, if you're looking at this video on YouTube, then please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please, please, please subscribe to the podcast. Share this with your friends. I give small business success tips on this podcast, helping you to grow through your first 200,000 in revenue and beyond. So thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Ciao.